Ever since I can remember, I have been told repeatedly that humanity began its adventurous life in Africa, possibly as far back as 6 million years ago. And when it comes to our ancestors, I've learned from Penn State researchers, and I quote, that we inherit our skin color from our ancestors. And so it is obviously a trait that is tied to our biology and genetics. According to different sources using Google, black hair is the most common natural hair color in the world. Around 75% to 85% of people worldwide have some shade of black hair. And in ancient Mesopotamia, according to Samuel Noah Kramer, Andrew George, and many others, the Sumerians were known as the black-headed people. When it comes to visualizing what the Sumerians once possibly looked like, many people will turn to artifacts such as statues. And one thing that many people have pointed out, coming from academic scholars to just ordinary history buffs, is the color of some of the statues' eyes found throughout ancient Mesopotamia. Many of these statues have blue eyes, which are sometimes made from lapis lazuli. According to the College of Physicians of Philadelphia, and I quote, the Neolithic Revolution occurred between 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, and because people were better able to procure a steady source of food, the population increased significantly. The technologies which emerged during this time allowed archaeologists and researchers to track cultural migration from the northwestern part of the Black Sea region into the rest of Europe, where the first humans with blue eyes lived. So the idea that some of the Sumerians were possibly blue-eyed, black-haired individuals is a fantastic description for a group of people. But what about skin color? It's apparent that I'm not the only person who is and was curious about why the Sumerians were identified as the black-headed people. Many people have voiced their opinion about the Sumerians identifying themselves as the black-headed people because of their hair color. According to Matthias Carlson, and I quote, the people of ancient Sumer are sometimes referred to as black-headed people in Sumerian texts. This term is, for example, attested in the so-called Neo-Sumerian period. In one of the royal hymns of Shogi, the said ruler is described as the herdsman, shepherd of the black-headed people. Nina G. Jablonski from Evan Pugh University, professor of anthropology at the Pennsylvania State University, says, and I quote, my ultimate goal in this research is for people to understand that their skin color is a result of evolution. That's it. Skin color has no connection to the evolution of other traits. Many people are generally wondering how white skin came about. Dr. Keith Chang, a distinguished professor of pathology at Penn State, and colleagues identified a key gene that contributes to lighter skin color in Europeans and differs from West Africans. In 2005, Chang reported that one amino acid difference in the gene SLC24 alpha 5 is a key contributor to the skin color difference between Europeans and West Africans. This possibly happened around 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, and according to the research done by Dr. Cheng, and I quote, the region where the highest percentage of people have the mutation is between the Middle East and India. So the one individual who first had the mutation is likely to have lived in this region, and this person's ancestors then spread to Europe and India. When it comes to blonde hair and blue eyes, there would never be an agreement among scientists of when they first appeared. However, many scientists believe that blonde hair and blue eyes evolved around 10,000 years ago, give or take. This is about the same time when white skin appeared. So before white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes, humans were heavily melanated. So it's hard for me to believe that there was any need for one to identify themselves as black-headed people like the Sumerians did, which is highly suggested by academic scholars. According to Samuel Noah Kramer, the Sumerian people identified themselves as the black-headed people since around 2000 BC. This is still believed today among individuals like Matthias Carlson, who was mentioned earlier. The Ubaidians inhabited the land of quote-unquote Sumer before the Sumerians, which is known throughout the academic world. Then the Sumerians and Akkadians together both took over the land and inhabited the land of Sumer. Why would the Sumerians need to identify themselves as the black-headed people if black hair is the most common hair color? Until next time, knowledge is power.